one, action.
Hey guys, I'm Casey.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Kelly.
And before we get started, I want you guys to imagine something for me. I want you to imagine you just got a new puppy, and you put the puppy's food on the back deck. You go to bed, you don't think anything about it. You come back the next day, and there's food everywhere. And you're trying to think to yourself, well, what caused this? You go around to the back part of your deck after it just rained, and you see some tracks behind your deck. So today we're going to be going over wildlife ID. We've got some stations set up for you back there. We're going to be doing white-tailed deer, coyote, red fox, and raccoon, and turkeys.
Yes. So, okay. We're going to have y'all split up into groups of 4, so y'all can go ahead and choose whoever you want your groups to be, and then I'll pass out these. We had a little bit of some technical difficulties, so you'll see we did have on here that we were going to go over the gray squirrel and the otter. We're actually not going to do that anymore, so it's highlighted if you want to look at it on your own time, but we are not going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and pass these out to y'all's groups. If you'll just one person from each group and raise their hand, that way I know who is. I'm assuming y'all are here. Y'all can see me. Okay. Alright, so once y'all are in y'all's groups, we're going to go over the tracks real quick. Guys, y'all have pictures of everything on your worksheet, so just go ahead and reference that while we're going over everything. If you want to start with your deer?
I can. We'll go ahead and start off with white-tailed deer. You'll notice it's a split hoof animal. You notice there's 2 toes. Some things to consider with that is, I guess, sort of the sexual dimorphism between the 2 deer, male and female. Males, they tend to be heavier set. They'll have generally a larger hoof print, and so when they're walking, you'll notice when we start off walking, they'll keep their toes kind of together, but since they have a heavier footprint, generally, you'll also see dew claw marks, whereas does you won't. When they're running, that'll be usually when they're a little bit split further apart. Does will show their dew claws as well when they're running, but not when they're walking. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Also, doe prints tend to be a little bit smaller in size. You know, they range 2.5 to 3 inches. I'd say maybe does anywhere from 2 1/4 to 2 3/4. Bucks maybe 2.5 to 3 inches long. Another thing to note is the age of the deer. Typically, a younger deer will have a sharper tip on their hoof print, whereas a older deer, it'll be a little bit more rounded, a little bit more worn. So just some things to keep in mind.
And tell about what
I guess just a kind of an environment that you'll find deer in. As you can see, we're in kind of a mixed marshy kind of area with some hardwood as well as pines. Really, anywhere in Georgia you can find deer. I guess some key considerations to locate them you might want to look for are like well-worn trails throughout the woods, especially through thick brushy areas where there might be a lot of privet, a lot of briars. Typically, that's some good areas to find deer. You might also want to look for different types of masts in the environment, such as muscadine vines or even persimmon trees. Deer tend to favor those a lot more. I guess you could say.
The next species we're going to look at is one you guys all know is the wild turkey. And on the bottom right hand part of your sheet, there's the turkey's highlighted. If you'll just look at it, to me, I always think about it as it looks almost like an anchor with the top part of the anchor just taken off, or you can think about it as a pickaxe or even an upside down teeth. They're about 4 inches. In size, and you would find turkeys in hardwoods. You can find them in areas like this, but a lot of times they're more near hard edges where the forest meets an open field. It's actually turkey season right now, and we actually saw when we're coming in, we saw a hen out at the last site.
So the next one we're going to talk about is the raccoon. So unlike a lot of the other animals that we're going to be talking about today, raccoons, you can find them typically in an urban area. They kind of rummage through trash, things of that sort, and their prints are kind of like, their front paws are kind of like a human hand, except they're a lot smaller, about 2.5 inches long, and then their back legs, those prints, they're like our human foot, except their toes are a lot longer than ours would be. So that's a raccoon.
I guess the last two that we have to go there. We're going to be talking about the coyote and then the red fox. So that coyote, you'll see it's also next to dog print because they're very similar to dog prints. A lot of people confuse them for dogs. Actually, I had a lady in our neighborhood. We live in a homeowners association. She rescued a coyote and like gave it a bath in her house and posted it on our neighborhood's Facebook, saying she found a coyote or she found a dog that was a bit aggressive, but that she was now soundly sleeping on her bed, which is pretty cool, but not cool at all. So they are very, very similar to dog prints. You'll just see subtle differences, and their claws are a little bit more prominent. Obviously, don't just go picking up coyotes on the side of the road. You may think you're doing a good deed, but you might die, but it's fine. The red fox, they're also have that like stereotypical shape to them, but you'll see, you notice the right picture, their like the actual base of their paw is a lot thinner than what dog paws look like. So that's kind of like the example that y'all are going to see out there today, is that thinner base to the paw. They're pretty similar as far as habitats go. Obviously, coyotes can be found in urban areas such as neighborhoods. They're becoming like a pretty extensive problem in Georgia now. They're really like overpopulating some areas. So hide your little pets. And then the red fox, it's going to be pretty typical to find them in areas such as this. You'll also keep a lookout for different habitat markers such as like large holes or hideouts, things like that, that you guys might see out there today. So those are the prints that we're going over. As far as the lab goes, there's going to be, I think, 5 different stations that you guys are going to visit. They're going to be marked with blue flags. I know this is also a spot that we've done like animal tracking before. So there's still some places that have sand that might not necessarily be pertaining to this lab. So look for the blue flagging, and that's where you guys are going to move on. So there's going to be one group at a station at a time. That way it's not overcrowding or anything. We set up this earlier in the day, so it's a little bit smaller sand areas than what you guys might remember from the last time we did this, because we pre-made the tracks. It's not like we were trying to trap for tracks or anything like that. So just keep that in mind. As you guys are going through the lab, I want y'all, like each group, to take pictures of the tracks that you're looking at. That way we can utilize them in a lesson that we'll talk about at the end.
There's no particular order that you guys have to go in out here. Just go to one that's not, where another group is not at.
And then we'll just rotate around.
Yeah, you can just rotate. We will be at certain ones because we've got some more information to tell you about. But just go around to each one, and we'll tell you, and just write down on the back of your track ID sheet. Just write down the ones that you found. So
that's what I was about to explain. On the sides of each of your sheets, there's going to be like something for you to measure. That way you can see each of your like what the typical measurements are for the track. So you can use this to measure for your tracks. On the back is where you're going to note everything. So you'll number 1 through 5. I want you guys to talk about, or to note the observations not only of the track details, like the measurements, what it looks like, etc., but also note the habitat around where the track is. That way you guys can go back to that for reference. And then don't forget to take pictures. Anyways, so we're going to go.
Good. Well, citizen science out here. Taking pictures.
gonna be like this one.
Okay. You guys.
Well,
It's
I mean,
pretty big.
it's a pretty big hideaway hole. You get the foxes.
We can look at the close to the water. The Warren Trail.
It's great to observe the environment too. That's a very, very good point. Absolutely.
You'll see different. I mean, a lot of it is to where trees are falling and stuff, but we kind of wanted to replicate. Like, somebody might find out they're all here, they're in here. Where this would be done. If you guys look closer at the truck. So, yeah, for me, it's kind of hard, especially because you have like a mold of this one. It's kind of hard to tell between like the coyote and the red fox, but you'll notice once you get to the other station that this is a lot thinner than the coyote base like that. So that one kind of looks more like an actual paw print that you'd recognize like for a dog. So this one's a little bit more thin. A little bit thicker than an actual fox is going to do, but weighted as you could. Yeah, so that's
Alright.
if you guys want to like take time to do like measurements and then this is with y'all, but just make a note of the different measurements and everything.
Okay.
Tie it into another activity.
Sounds good.
Good. Good. Going over to another group here. All right. Cutting through the woods here. Hopefully this team doesn't have to take Dramamine to watch this. Check on Mr. Moon over here and Miss Green. Here we go.
Yeah, the habitat that you're finding these tracks in, how big the track is.
So we measured that would be about what, 2 inches? 4 inches. Okay, that was a big,
Big coyote.
big coyote.
Coyote.
I'll eat some squirrels.
Miss Kelly, how old do you think these tracks are?
I'm not certain.
Okay. Okay. Be careful.
Girl down.
That is a serious hole. You okay?
Hey Jay, y'all group can come over here if you want to.
All right. Ooh. There you go. I think I see what's going on here.
He's probably just standing looking around,
It could be.
observing his surroundings.
Hang on, what was, Jay, where your hand was, what's that?
Oh man, there's a deer mark.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Deer might be marking his territory, trying to knock some of that velvet off.
right. You look around, there might be some velvet.
What are some things you notice about the shape of the hooves right here? Right? Is it kind of sharp or is it really rounded?
Really rounded. It's really rounded. So,
Yeah.
So you think this might be, is this a younger deer? Is this an older deer?
maybe an older deer, kind of wore down.
It could be maybe kind of like a small bodied, almost older deer.
Yeah, kind of a frail deer.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe it could even be a cull buck, maybe, perhaps.
Okay.
What are some things about the environment?
They could eat acorns.
They could. Maybe there's some more.
Some growing
A
up
lot
there,
of
some
sweet grass,
grasses.
a little bit of ground foliage, kind of, and then not so much of a browse line here, not so much of a low browse line. A few things, a little bit more
Yeah, that's
headed
what I was
back
gonna
up.
say. There are some smaller trees, but not a lot of them.
We noticed some grass that got chopped off.
A little bit of it. They could have eaten some of that. Yeah, that's very true.
And another thing about turkeys, guys, if you look over here and you see this scratched up leaf litter, when they scratch up the ground like that, they're trying to find insects and seeds. And a lot of times they'll like get down and they'll ruffle their feathers too. It's a good sign that a turkey's been in there. So it might be something you want to think about if you want to go turkey hunting. And that's just the time of year for that. So, you know, turkey hunting is really big in Georgia. And I don't know how many people. I know a lot of people want to have a fall turkey season. We don't have one here so that people can actually shoot their own turkeys to have for Thanksgiving. But we don't, as of right now, we don't have a fall turkey season.
How do turkeys do their nests? They just like do it?
They do roost up in trees. And a lot of times, like early in the morning, you can see, if you come out here early enough, you can see them come down from their roost.
Okay.
Yeah, so you don't think about a turkey roosting up in a tree because they're so big, but they do roost up in trees. And if you guys want to, you can head over to Aaron and he'll tell you about the deer tracks. He's got some information to tell you about on the deer tracks. How's it going, guys? I'll give you a couple seconds. Turkey, it's a big old turkey, I'll tell you what. I tell you what. One thing, if you're going through an area and you think you might have turkeys in the area, scratched up leaf litter is a big sign because they're looking for insects, they're looking for seeds. Right now it is turkey season, so if that's something you're interested in and you want to go turkey hunting, some vital information, see if some turkeys have been in your area. But Ryan actually asked a really good question. They do roost in trees. A lot of people don't think about them roosting in trees because they're so big.
They walk through my
Exactly. That's the way it goes. I know it.
Same with deer. All the time except for deer season.
Yeah. And a lot of times, like if you look on game cameras, you can see, like if somebody puts out corn in front of a game camera, you can see turkeys and deer eating together. So now, as of right now, they don't have a fall turkey season. I know a lot of people would like to have a fall turkey season so that they can shoot them.
Good
Makes a lot of
stuff.
sense. I think up north, they
Okay, so what do you y'all think that kind of identifies in terms of
Probably a more mature deer.
Well, oh wait.
Probably not super old, but still like has a little bit of
maybe like, I don't know, maybe like 3.5 to 4.5 years old. You know, he's been around a time or two, but he's not, you know, very old. He's still got a little bit of life left in him, a little bit of youth. I think that's a good observation. Now, what's your name?
bring home this raccoon, and I was like, oh god. Okay, we got a hole. Oh yeah, let's make sure nobody steps. I was about to say, actually, somebody could take a picture of me doing this. I have a project tomorrow that I can use in. Because I have to be doing something natural resource qualified related.
Very true, very true.
I don't have to be looking because I
Teachable moment here.
picture.
What class is it for?
Natural resources in Georgia.
Interesting.
Okay. I got
Oh, is that with Dr. what's the teacher's name? Grossman, Dr. Grossman.
I think it's Dr. Morris.
Oh, okay.
Are you in his 1200 class?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the
Yeah,
one.
yeah, we're in the same class.
Is it due tomorrow or Thursday?
It's due tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
We can get a picture of you too.
Why are
Maybe later. Y'all do y'all.
is the moss like growing on the bottom of all these trees because it's like wetter out here, or is that just like?
She got the raccoon.
'Cause, like I've never really seen that.
It is. This is an area that gets flooded sometimes when we get a lot of rain. The water will come up in here a little bit. So yeah, it absolutely is. It's just a very damp, lowland area. Good question, right? Absolutely. Yep. Sure is. Even look at it on this tree right here. This is a sugar maple. It's growing right on that tree. Good stuff. Thanks, Aaron. Excellent. Excellent stuff. I'm gonna follow this group over here to Kelly.
That'd be like a 10-year-old.
A toddler.
10-year-old? What kind of 10-year-old has that in her hand?
Well, it's just not a baby.
It's a raccoon.
So remember what we talked about earlier? Raccoons like the urban areas and the trashy places.
Me too.
Yeah, it's a little marshy area.
Yeah. So this print's a little bit large to be a typical raccoon, but we had to improvise a little bit, so we make do with what we have. But like I said, raccoons, they like the really trashy areas to be able to rummage through things, like a possum would. There's a lot of trees, like there's a tree over there with like a boom hat area in the front. So then that would probably be good for them to view. Yeah.
Trees are
Yeah. So even though raccoons like urban areas a little bit better, this would probably be a perfect setting for them to just chill out in the woods.
Yeah. A little lounge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
You guys just take some observations on what you're seeing. Take a picture of the print if you could get a picture. Well, have you guys had all the pictures?
Yes.
So, do you guys have a favorite?
I like the fox. I like the one where we started. I thought the little fox hat
Oh, that
to
was
it was
cute.
really cool. Yeah.
The deer one by the redwing was nice though. I liked that. That was some good placement.
Yeah, good stuff. Alright. I think there's still one more group that needs to.
Look at our face. It's got nails in it.
Now that is not CWD.
Perfect place
Process
for a raccoon.
CWD. That's right.
Perfect
You
place
make like
for
a
a raccoon.
fireplace mantle out of. That's really cool.
Thank you, Miss Green. That's great. That was cool. So this was a raccoon, we decided. This is the one y'all had to improvise, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we
Not
ended
too
up-
bad. Not too bad at all. Yeah, and the mineral oil really helps that sand get more moist. You know, the track
absolutely.
stands out. Yeah, that's good. Good. And I've tried it with water before too, and the water just dries.
Yeah, it
So
just
that makes it
evaporates.
thick. Yeah. Good. Okay. Excellent. I'm gonna walk down here.
And we did raccoons. I think we did them all. Okay, yeah. So you guys are good.
There you go.
Just until everybody
Tree ID. That's a big one there. Yeah.
Trees. Look at that. It's going above and beyond.
There you go.
Call of Duty. Did you send all three back? Okay, they're coming back.
Okay.
I'll get them sent to you. Really sweet.
Either here.
I want. There's this on my side of the mountain.
I remember that book. kid that has the falcon, you know, he has that peregrine falcon. Yep.
And there was another, I think there was a sequel to it. It was like my favorite story, like my favorite book to read growing up. 'Cause, like,
Yeah.
he like made a house inside of a tree and it blew my mind. I was like, what?
And he explained the falcon.
Here we got a team coming.
Boy, we got something right here. What you got quick edges? Maybe the environment can drop crocodile down. Okay, yeah, anything y'all can tell me about kind of like this area that suggests that this might be a deer besides the tracks? Is there anything that you notice around here?
What about things that
That might be right. That looks like there's some rubs on the tree right in front of the tracks. So what, maybe that suggests, what does that lead to suggest? What kind of deer is it? But what else might suggest that to you? That's right. Kind of like it's got the closed hoof, so you know it's walking, but it's maybe a heavy set deer, so you know it's a buck, most likely. What's some other things that you notice about the tracks, like kind of like the shape of them? Is it really sharp, or is it kind of like, what's the word? Kind of rounded, well worn.
it might be pretty rounded.
A little bit rounded. What'd you say, Tony? It could be. Maybe a younger deer and an older deer. Because I would agree. Maybe like. Could be very true. Now, what does that suggest? Maybe regarding the deer itself, the shape of the hoof tip. That's right. That's right. So if it's a little bit more rounded, that deer's been around the block for a time or two. He's seen a few years. He knows what he's doing. So that's definitely degrees. Probably an older buck came scraped right here, marked his territory a little bit. So y'all hit it, yeah. Have y'all seen Kelly yet? I think she's got some tracks there too.
All right. Thank you, Aaron. That's good stuff. It's good that y'all did this too here as well. Kind of making these markings and
There
everything.
was a few markings. We just wanted to make it a little
Really?
bit drastic because, to the trained eye,
Right.
it might look obvious, but to someone who may not have ever walked through the woods and seen buck scrapes before,
That's
kind
right.
of like, well, is that a disease or is that a scrape?
Excellent. That paw in the ground, kind of sometimes you'll see in the tracks. It's good
Might have
teaching.
been snorting if we had a video.
That's
Might have
right.
seen another buck. Who knows? Maybe they could have done something.
It's good, but it's good to get those students to observe their environment. Have critical thinking, pull all these pieces of evidence to make a conclusion that's a deer. That's right. That's good. I like that, Aaron. Good. Good.
Like whenever I was in New York, we ate a lot of like this stuff from Starbucks.
Looks like we got one more team up the hill there.
Y'all just plot your notes. I'll wait for that last group to finish up. Plot all your lovely notes, and I know y'all also.
Okay.
Oh, I'm doing the whole lesson.
Just about 30 minutes. So
Alright,
right
let's
on
get it
time.
back.
Very good.
2 seconds so we can start with our review here. Yes. Good job.
Yay.
How many of y'all be able to tell that? What can you look at to be like, oh, hey, that's American beef? What does it look like? It does, don't it?
I think we learned that yesterday in class. I'm so
Alright.
Alright guys, since everybody's done, what were the 5 groups of animal tracks that you guys identified? Or 5 animals that you guys identified? Just name them all.
a turkey.
Raccoon?
Deer, there you go.
Absolutely. What were some things that clued you guys into the tracks about what it might be?
Let's go by station. So like at this station right here, what did we determine was the print? The deer? And what like of the habitat or what of the track or the surrounding things you guys clued you in that was the deer track.
So it's an antler rub.
Yeah, and I'll talk about that.
The trail is pretty worn around where it is. I kind of noticed that it sometimes has big falls, so some of the fellows did, and then he told us to smell here, and that falls sometimes have big falls if they're standing hard enough.
Sweet. Alright, and if we go to this one over here, look at the side of it. Okay, and we'll ask the same question. What we go in for you? Let's get some people over here to answer.
What about the
It's a
raccoon
really
guys?
trashy area.
Thank you.
I mean, they do get in trash. So you're right.
There you go.
You're right. Anybody else have anything about tracks, Ryan? Did your group have anything about raccoon tracks?
The area had the rubble and trash, like Cole said.
They're pretty distinctive tracks.
And they're similar, and you guys can also
Oh,
remember
the
them
traffic
as
stuff.
being, they're sort of similar to, if you look at your hands, they're sort of similar that way. They're just a little bit, like on a raccoon's rear foot, the palm will be a little more elongated. And if you look at their front feet, if you look at your hand, and the thumb was a little bit more spaced out.
It
That-
looks like, you know Lilo and Stitch? It looks like Stitch's hand. Just in case you wanted to. Just let
Is Stitch in the wild?
All right, what about the turkey side? What did you guys find out about the turkeys? And why did they do that?
Looking for bugs.
That's right. That's right.
He was a giant turkey.
Yeah, he was a giant turkey.
There were some big worms.
Sure was.
It might have been like
scruffled
a
up the
cross
leaf.
person with
Yeah.
the, like, big butt. Yeah.
Alright, and then the last two, the coyote and the red fox, what were some specific things about those that y'all
The red fox has a very natural habitat right next to like a large hole.
yeah,
You know,
like
it's
little
chilling.
hideout holes?
Yeah, you can get inside it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we saw that. You can fit inside the hole.
Should you?
No. Okay, so what we're gonna do next, in your group, I want each of y'all to think about, or come up, talk amongst yourselves, one scenario where you can utilize this knowledge that you guys learned, like either how to track or how to recognize the habitats, or why it's important to know what tracks around, you know, your home or your farm or whatever. Think about a scenario, come up with it, and then in about 45 seconds to a minute, we're going to each share our different scenarios. So, y'all go ahead.
I should know this. Good. Good.
Girl, you bottles of water one day and then later.
About 15 more seconds.
Look at the deep thought of this team. You got something secret going on here.
Alright, is everybody ready?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna start on this end, so with Cole's group over here.
What's that?
You guys wanna tell us what your scenario was?
Yeah, we were set if you like, for like wildlife management purposes, if you wanted to know what different kinds of animals were there, you would be able to tell.
Yes. For us, we said I guess more farm management. If there was something killing your animals and you really wanted to know what it was, I guess if something was getting in your chicken coop, you could go and look around and see
Yeah,
if
I feel
there's
like
any
leads you
tracks.
in, like you could see the tracks and then you could figure out where it is. Yeah, that's located from there or whatever.
Sorry, I wasn't listening. We said kind of the same thing. So like livestock, potential livestock predators. So you kind of know what's hanging around on your farm. You know what kind of traps you need to put out to protect your livestock. We said we think wolves also thinking livestock with coyotes, like you can put your coyotes with your sheep, your chickens, any of that, or cows. But we also said it's nice to know what raccoon tracks look like, because if you live in a suburban area and like you see a lot of them, and you know that there's probably like a large raccoon population, you can do something about it. You can either help protect them or you can help have them not come so close to dangerous areas.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those are all really, really good examples. For us today, we set up this lab pretty easily. So if you guys wanted to do this at home or after you leave this lesson, you know how to identify them now. But to set it up, it's super simple. All you need is sand, and you can get it from like Home Depot, Walmart, things like that. And then we use mineral oil to harden it up a little bit to make sure that the track actually set into the sand without it blowing all over everywhere. And that's honestly pretty much you need if you're just looking for tracks. It's pretty much the most basic way to look at them.
You guys might also want to use some sort of bait to bring them in too.
And then you can just build on it from there. If you want to keep looking at it, you can set up, like we said, trail cams. You can make like molds of the tracks that you find. So we'll talk about that in different lessons. But from today, you guys have all your notes, you have all your pictures. We're going to use those to create a wildlife tracking little booklet in the next class that we'll use to go over all this stuff again and that you can keep for review. And then give it over to Kelly.
Yeah, so the scenario we gave at the very beginning about your dog food being scattered everywhere. Do you guys think you know what kind of animal may have been in your dog food from the conversations that we had at each station?
Possum.
Awesome. Well, what that we have talked about today? Raccoon. Good job.
All right, thank you guys.
Let's give them a big round of applause. That's great. Thank y'all. Very nice. Very nice.